UFC Fight Night took place yesterday from the O2 Arena in London. If you ask me, this was a pretty lackluster event. We only had 4 finishes, 4 submissions. That means we had 9 decisions. We had 13 fights. I would say a few of those decisions, they were kind of close. I'm sure there's people online starting arguments. FYI, those are usually the people who bet on the other guy. Let's be real here. They were some close fights. I mean, I was fine. I was actually falling asleep when Leon was coming out. Let's just get into the prediction recap. Alright, let's do a quick recap on all the fights last night. The first fight was Guram Kutateladze taking on Kai Fernandez. Fernandez gets the unanimous decision. Pretty one-sided affair. Guram walked out with Hamzat Ilya and his brother and did absolutely nothing except look like a whack Ilya Topuria clone in that ring. Dude, get your own style and get out of here. 90-something% of the community was going with Kutateladze. Wish we could have that pick back. The next match was Nathan Fletcher taking on Colin Loughran. I knew this match was going to be close. I'm sure there's a lot of people crying about the decision online. I don't care. Honestly, my first inclination was to go with Loughran, and I didn't. And that's why I started off the night 0-2 on my predictions. And I go in, and let me tell you something, anytime I have to do my predictions and I watch the event and I start off going 0-2, I know I'm in for a bad night. And I knew I was in for a bad night when I had to rely on Duck Lips over here to give me my first win, which was, first she gets rocked. Pooja has no idea how to defend an armbar, and that's the only reason why she gets a submission win. Jesus, did they give her a performance of the night for that? Oh my God, what a joke. Anyway, we moved on to Christian Leroy Duncan. I believe he was my first official bet on the night. He did not get the win by knockout. He looked like he was about to do something at the very end of the fight, but a little bit too late. Andrei Puliev stood in there, took his best shots, and CLD got the unanimous decision. We moved on to Mick Parkin and Marcin Tybura. Tybura was my prediction, so at this point I'm 2-2 on the night. But again, another decision bout. I'm sure there's a lot of Brits that said Parkin won. Big surprise there. I went on to bet on Felipe Dos Santos to get this win over I was calling him Loner Kavanaugh. You know what? You're still Loner Kavanaugh. Loney. I think that's what they were calling him last night. Loney. Could Bisping be any more fucking annoying? The whole fight showing his bias, saying Santos was trying to cheat. He grabbed the fence twice. Bisping accused him of doing it 3 times. But then later, in another fight, I saw the cameraman actually catch one of the British fighters grabbing the fence, and you heard crickets out of Bisping. Whatever. Loney gets the decision. No, your name is Loner. That's what I'm calling you. Jai Herbert versus Taco. This was a pretty boring fight. I mean, these guys were just, moving left to right, not really doing much. Says Padilla threw 88 strikes here. I didn't even think there were 88 strikes in the entire match. That was a boring fight. We moved on to Nathaniel Wood getting the unanimous decision win over Morgan Cherry. I'm going to call you Cherry from now on because you fought like a cherry. Nathaniel Wood looking sharp out there. I totally forgot how crisp Nathaniel Wood's hands were. He gets his hand raised. Another boring unanimous decision. There was a moment there where Wood rocked Cherry. I believe it was in the first round. And other than that, a pretty uneventful match. It was a pretty uneventful night. We moved on to Jordan Vucenic taking on Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan just ran through Vucenic. And Vucenic was like a 3-1 favorite earlier in the week. Might have been up until the fight started, I'm not even sure. But Chris Duncan gets the submission win. And now Vucenic has to get the problem tattooed on his butt. Oh no. We moved on to Molly McCann, the can of the night. And wow, look at this. Another performance of the night for Alexia Thainara, getting the submission on the can. The can retires, tells the crowd that the UFC and the crowd deserves better. I agree. But you could have came to that conclusion several fights ago, so we didn't have to see your stupid face anymore. Gunnar Nelson taking on Kevin Holland. This was actually a pretty entertaining fight. I kind of, in my prediction video, I said Holland might get the win here just to be an asshole. And of course he does. I went with Gunnar. The one time I don't go with Holland as a prediction, and of course he wins. Get out of my face, 4570. Can't stand looking at you. We moved on to the co-main event. Jan Blachowicz versus Carlos Ulberg. And yes, I know I'm mispronouncing his name. If you're new to my channel, well, get used to it. When fighters lose me bets, they lose the right to have their name pronounced correctly. Another boring fight. Carlos Ulberg just pointing his way to a victory. Very Izzy-ish style of just kicking his way to a victory. I mean, there's plenty of people saying this was a robbery online too. I mean, whatever. Who cares? We moved on to the main card. Leon Edwards versus Sean Brady. Sean Brady doing exactly what I said he was going to do. Didn't see him getting the finish in the fourth round, but he does. Congrats to Sean Brady for avoiding getting kicked in the groin and losing an eye to the stylistic Leon Edwards. That was pretty funny, seeing a bunch of the crowd leaving, I believe in the second or third round. They were like, I've had enough of this, let's go to the pub. Let's get into the betting recap. So to recap the event, on my official predictions, I go 7. No, I don't even go 7. I go 6 for 13. That is a dismal and atrocious performance. 6 for 7 on the night. And for the official bets, I go 1 for 5. Just a horrible night. The parlay pick of the night didn't even hit a single leg. What a waste. But then again, I didn't bet much, so maybe I'm the big winner here. But yeah, just a horrible night. Bunch of shit burger picks. And yeah, my one bet on the night that won was Marcin Tybor coming through for his boy Cesar Leo. That is my one bet. I got one last night. So I lose about, I don't know, $35, whatever the hell I lost. Not a whole lot. Actually, I think I lost like 40 because I did place a $5 parlay. You know, I got tempted by the boost. I missed that one on too. I even forgot who I went with. I think I went with a 4-leg. I think they were promoting a 4-leg boost, but who cares? Just a horrible night. Next week, we're gonna have Brandon Moreno taking on Steve Erceg. I gotta tell you, I've been looking over the card already, and this looks probably even worse than this past event. How could it possibly be? But we're gonna find out. I'll give you my predictions sometime this week. I don't know when I'm gonna get them out. But yeah, not a good night for your boy. I'll see you next time.